Hello everyone, and thank you for watching. This is Neferititi here, spiritual life coach, mind body fitness instructor, and all of my information is in the description box below. So I wanted to come to you again with a quick video on helping you to navigate this ascension and all of these intense energies that are here now, causing us to be triggered, causing others to be triggered, to awaken, and people's reactions to these energies are very different, right? They're all very different, how we respond depending on where we are. And so this video today is about being the Lightworker Trigger. That is part of the job description, if you will, is to trigger other people, to awaken them. And how this happens is not necessarily up to us. It's not for us to decide what experiences will cause that trigger, but we will be triggered through our experiences, okay? So I've received a lot of information on 1111, a lot of what I'm considering channeled information from my higher self, and it's in reference to this subject matter of being the Lightworker Trigger. So I'm trying to get good lighting here. Okay, I think this is good. So I wanted to just share with you what it is that I received. And I mean, this was just like a huge download of information. So it took me a couple of days to kind of unpack it and to also see how it related to me and my experience, because I've learned to do that as well, even as a coach and as a spiritual teacher, to first see how this information can apply and improve my own life. Then I share it with others, because I can actually have maybe some experience that they can relate to, that I can give to them, some practical, this is what happened when I did this or did that. And so that only happens through experience, right? So I always give myself a couple of days to unpack information, especially before I share it with clients or with anyone in my yoga classes. So I'm just going to go through I guess they're kind of like bullet points, and then I'll stop and comment as I feel led to. So the reason why we are triggering other people is because we are here to test the limits of people, and by causing them to examine what they believe is true versus what is really true, that triggers an awakening. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick example. Like I mentioned in my last video, if you are dealing with a situation where you need help, and I mean, you really truly need help, you know, it's not a situation where you are trying to manipulate or use anybody, you are in need of assistance, you trigger people, right? Because it causes them to really have to go deeper within themselves. Can they help you? Will they help you? Right? Those are two different things. Some people can help you and won't help. And that's their journey. You can't force anybody to say yes to you. But I find it very interesting how those same people will try to project onto the person that they are supposed to be helping more feelings of judgment and criticism. That person's probably already feeling bad enough, okay? They don't need your extra negative energy and judgment on them. What they need is your support. And if that is what you say you would do when you're having conversations with people, or when you're you know, asked what would you do in this situation, and then you turn around and do something else, or God forbid, something that actually could potentially hinder that person, then you need to really examine what you believe and what you feel your truths are, because there's some incongruency there, all right? You were the brave soul, the one brave enough to go through this process, and sometimes to go through it publicly, dealing with embarrassment, shame, guilt, hurt, and defeat, okay? Doing this publicly. Because you have this specific mission and you trigger people in that way, you will have to believe that because you're on this mission, that everything you need will be supplied. This mission will not be easy, because again, this required some bravery for you to be on the front line, to be the forerunner. Okay, so don't expect this journey to be a cakewalk. So that means automatically you can't compare your journey to somebody else's, because you signed up to do the harder things. Especially if you're watching this video, I definitely think that you resonate with what I'm saying, okay? It's not about asking why me. It's about saying, okay, this is what's happening. How can I improve this situation, and how can I use it to be of service to others in whatever capacity, right? Triggering not only helps to clear deception and delusions, it also provides the light worker with emotional release. And that emotional release is necessary so that there is more capacity for light information to come in. The darkness, the density, and the light can't really share the same space and have harmony and have peace. So a lot of times when we are triggered, especially as light workers, and we are sensitive, so we get emotional, but that's necessary so that we can create the space to hold more light, because that's ultimately why we are here, is to anchor this light, help to anchor it into Gaia so that we can move everybody else forward, okay? The unexamined heart is heavy and works as a negative energy, a negative heavy anchor, which can cause you to manifest by default, because ultimately what feels good is following our heart. But if your heart is filled with deception and with delusion, and that happens, in this life, we're presented with more of the distortions of love than what love actually is. We're bombarded with the distortions. So it's very easy for us to be seduced and manipulated into thinking that we're doing the right thing, when in actuality, we just either we're staying the same out of fear, or we are not really doing the inner work, which would tell you that this is automatically not right, because it doesn't feel right. Or we have a heavy heart that's full of delusion and heartbreak and upset and unforgiveness. These are things that you need to release. Once you become consciously aware of these things, then you need to say, ultimately, these are not my energies, right? Because again, it's a part of the seduction. It's a part of the 3D illusion to keep us in fear so that the negative energy can feed off of us, right? So just know that ultimately, if it doesn't feel good, it's probably not yours. Definitely not yours. I don't even want to say probably, and don't believe that bullshit about, everything is about me and, like all of my negative thoughts. Remember that thoughts can be projected too. And if you're sensitive and you're deaf and you're not working on yourself and you're not aware of these things, then you can definitely have thoughts implanted. That's how this system is set up. Okay, so don't be fooled, right? So I talked about the emotional release and the unexamined heart. Controlling energy can have many forms, some blatant and some subtle. And the subtle forms of control and manipulation are the worst, because it's like you're allowing yourself to get used to it over time, first of all, and you're not even aware that it's not right for you, but you get accustomed to it. I don't know if that makes sense the way I said it, but the subtle energies are dangerous due to their insidiousness, and ability to manipulate and masquerade as love and light. Okay, so the bottom line is, if it doesn't feel good, it ain't good. Okay, we have these powerful inner GPS systems which allow us to navigate our environment, and we need to use them. The more we use them, the stronger they get, but we have to employ them as much as possible. How do I feel about this situation? Yes, no, or am I unsure? Do I need more time? Is there a potential for something better? Am I underrating myself? Am I underestimating myself? Am I overestimating myself? Right? So these are questions that you would ask yourself if you're, in that process of self-examination, which you should be in, not to the point where you're judging yourself, but we're living in really strange times, okay? Where there's lots of negativity coming to the surface, so it would probably benefits you to just check in with yourself every now and then and make sure that you're not, caught up in some kind of mental drama, or, you don't have to go to the bathroom, you're not hungry. Like, these are important things just to keep you on point, right? Always trust the energy. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter how good it sounds. Always trust that energetic signature, because again, it's going to feel off if it's not on, right? If it's not on point, if it's not in alignment with you, it's going to feel off. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It's just not resonating with you. And you don't want to ever force anything to resonate with you, because the universe, that's what the Bible says. What means when it says, be not deceived. God is not mocked. Energy is not mocked. Okay, people might think they're fooling people, but they're really not. All they're doing is attracting more bullshitters, right? Because like attracts like. So you won't see somebody, that's not already carrying some of that kind of energy, follow a leader or a shaman or a guru or something like that that's full of shit, because, obviously you can't follow them unless you're full of shit, to a certain extent. So I'm going to just let that go. Take your power back by trusting yourself and staying positive and in the now. Now, what I mean by staying positive is recognizing when a negative thought comes up, owning it, not owning it to the point where you're going to let it internalize, but saying, okay, I see you, right? I see you, Satan. And just say thank you for sharing, but this does not make me feel good. And I know that there's nothing more important than me feeling good to attract what it is I want. So I need to let you go. Thank you for showing me that you were inside of me somewhere. You surfaced. Now you can go on. You don't serve me anymore, right? And so a lot of times when the universe is telling you to let go, we're looking around in our physical environment, like what needs to go? What do I need to let go of? We don't like to think about the fact that the universe might be talking about people or circumstances or living situations, right? It's not always about you trying to, again, mock the energy. What is the universe telling you to really release? I don't care if it's scary. It's going to be scary. You know what I'm saying? Because you're moving into a new life. You're shedding old aspects of yourself which no longer serve you, which can't move into the fifth dimension with you. So yes, it's scary, okay? And that is the whole purpose of triggers, so that we can think of a trigger as stirring a pot, okay, or washing out a pot in a sink. You scrub the bottom and it's like greasy and gross, and then all that stuff comes to the surface and it's disgusting, right? But ultimately what you're trying to do is bring the pot back to its integrity, right? So that you can use it again. And that's a pretty good analogy, but bottom line is, these triggers that happen, these emotional triggers, are ultimately here to serve us, because all things work together for our good. We've got to be able to move that energy out to hold more light. They can't occupy the same space. And don't keep trying, just surrender to the process, whatever it is that you need to go through, because it'll pass much faster. It'll pass by much quicker, and you'll get the lessons and you can move on. Okay. Let's see what else. I mentioned if something doesn't feel good, it's not your energy. Avoid people with the yes buts. When you try to, so I had a situation the other day, and I was telling somebody about something I was going through, and they were like, yeah, you need to be spiritual, but. And I'm like, no, there is no but. There is no but. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Now, my spiritual side will give me practical advice. Don't get me wrong, but that is my first, should be, okay, could be my first line of defense, if you will, is to tap into my spiritual self. It's because that's who I really am, and that's the fastest way to get through anything. So there is no yes but, okay? And if anybody tries to go there with you in any capacity, that's a clear indication that they are not on your level, okay, spiritually speaking. And you also need to trust your own intuition, right? And sometimes you might be wrong, but most of the time you're going to be right. We get caught up in how we think situations should pan out, how things should turn out, and that is not our work. Our work is to decide what we want, make sure that it resonates with us. It's something that we really truly want. It's heartfelt, and to focus on the end result. Those are the only two things we need to do, and to take action in alignment with what it is that we want to do. Period. That's what focus is about. Okay? Doing only the things that will take you to your goal, to your purpose, whatever that is. Self-love, getting a better job, whatever, right? There's a process and there's steps that you can take, and you don't get caught up in the process either, because processes are not linear, they're cyclical. I think you should know that by now, right? Going through this process. So I think I had one more point here. Basically, anybody I think who's watching this video has had a rough time. You know, you've had a hard go at it, probably for most of your life. And I'm just here to tell you that if your path is more difficult, it's because your calling is higher. This I can assure you. It doesn't mean that your journey is going to be easy, but it's all about stepping into our power and learning that we can handle anything that comes our way. We can handle any perceived challenge or obstacle, but we have to stay focused. That is our true work, is staying focused. And it is work because there's lots of distractions, right? So again, going back to some of the practical things you can do is to write down your vision every single day, right? And see how that triggers you. Right? When you write down what it is you really want, how does it make you feel? Do you feel like you deserve it? Because what you want and what you think you deserve are often very different. So that's one way to kind of examine your triggers. Another way is to examine the patterns in your life, the relationship patterns. And I'm not just talking about intimate relationships. I'm talking about friends, coworkers. Is there a pattern that seems to be a part of these situations where conflict arises? Okay, what typically is the issue? And I'm talking about the root issue, not the details, right? Ultimately, it's about a power struggle, right? One person trying to have more power over the other, or vice versa. But if you are somebody who is maintaining your power, you're doing what you need to do to have personal power, then you won't even attract these kind of situations. So let that be a trigger for you. If you're attracting situations where you feel powerless or you feel like somebody is trying to take your power, that's a clear indication that you're not maintaining your own. And so you need to, getting to the next tip, make sure that you're doing whatever you need to do for your spiritual hygiene every single day, whether that's meditation, yoga, drinking a gallon of water, eating a whole foods plant-based diet. These are some of the things that I do to keep myself energetically aligned. But it could be different for you. You know, for you it could be just making sure you get a good night's sleep, or to get up with enough time in the morning so that you're not running all over the house like a crazy person, especially if you have kids and you're running all over the place trying to get things together and get out the door, getting up earlier. Or it could be you know, making sure that you are allowing yourself time every week for rest and relaxation. So whatever the things are for you, you need to make sure that you're doing them. Okay, so just a quick recap: write down your vision every day and see how it triggers you. Examine the patterns within your relationships, all of them, intimate, familial, work, everything. And what was the third one? I forgot the third one already, because that third one just kind of came to me. Oh, see? Making sure that you're doing those things every single day that are going to keep you in alignment. So meditation, yoga, whatever that is, okay? And make a list. Maybe some of you even need a checklist to make sure that you're doing it every day, like download an app or use a notebook or whatever, okay? So thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. I hope this video was helpful for you. All of my information is in the description box below if you'd like to book a session with me. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your journey and your day. And remember to love yourself and take care of yourself and eat lots of plants. Namaste.